We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. A rare treat tonight. Perhaps we'll do the whole thing as a fireside chat. Market dumps. You're probably going, oh my God, this was not on my bingo card. That's okay because neither was the USA doing a hostile takeover of Canada. Hello. Okay. So there's a lot of things going on, and this market is proving why I don't do 2025 forecasts until after the first week of the year, right? Everyone who did it last year thinks it'll be the same as 2024. And obviously, that's not true. It's not. All right. So we're going to talk about why the market's down. We will talk about risks to the view. I do have the one picture market update, which I'm just going to share before we welcome everybody because, if you ask me, this is all you need. That's the CEO of Ripple with the orange man on a tweet dated January 7th. So, Ripple is hiring. The orange man wants it big, bold, and made in America. So if Bitcoin's going up and XRP is going up and AI coins are going up, then everything is going up. And I mean everything. So of course, naturally, the first thing we have to do is sell it to make you think it's terrible. I'm going to go over everything. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you. Even if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to make it make sense. Net, I think it's time to get very, very prepared. If the market's going to give you another preparation period, sort of like it did at the end of December, then you got to take advantage of that, like in an epic, urgent way. And like I said, we're doing this fireside chat style tonight. We'll do some TA. Okay, Colby is here first. Welcome, sir. Trevor, Ian, Arendam, SGSG, Thomas, Small Fish, Jav, Fernando, Banks 911, welcome. Tio Savage, what's going on? Hello. Rafa, Tyson, Kirkville, Alexandra. My God, Alexandra from Europe. Cat Entertainment, Victor, We the People, Desiree, Rye God, Humbug. Do you think AI agents will have another run? JJ, yeah, dude, look. I think AI agents are only the beginning. So, all right, let's start with AI. Let's get that going. Okay, so you have a massive number of AI agents coming out between 15 and 25 million. Everybody wants to place their bets. It's a little bit like the meme coin casino. Everyone won't make it, but some of them will. Now, one thing that the meme coin complex did was it created like the Solana monster and the Pump.Fun monster, right? It was fairly concentrated, right? Like the small meme coin bid created the big meme coin bid, and it created the Solana bid and the Sui bid and things like that. That's how that trade worked. Now take that trade and multiply it by 100. And that's what's going on in artificial intelligence. Consider the following. NVIDIA, which is a chip company likely with accounting problems, flipped Apple to become the top company by market cap in the world like 3 days ago. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, has announced that they have artificial general intelligence, which is to say artificial intelligence as smart as a human. They've had it for a long time. They've had artificial super intelligence, aka a sentient being, aka Skynet. They've had it for a while. They just don't have the hardware to run it. So if they've got artificial general intelligence, if you have an understanding of how AI and machines learn, which ironically I learned at an AI crypto firm 4 years ago, you know that they need massive amounts of computing power. So DPIN, data storage, decentralized cloud. Like, it's not just virtuals, right? If virtuals can be a $5 billion valuation to be an AI agent casino, that's only the beginning. So any agent that hits it big goes up a lot. Any platform that competes with virtuals like Lush, that's just like a low cap that I'm looking at, right? Anybody that comes out with human-based agents that can do Bud Light commercials 24/7. Just, that's what Lush is trying to do. So, and this says nothing about the data and the computing power that they need for this, which is why I feel like I'm sitting on a volcano. Like, I know the market's down, and I'll tell you why the market's down. It's not unreasonable. It's not. But, when you consider the intersection of AI and blockchain, and when you consider this AI agent thing, on one hand, it's overdone. On the other hand, how could it be overdone after, like, what, 5 weeks? Meme coins went on for like a year, right? I mean, pumped on fun never stopped. So, okay, I know people are going crazy, but this whole narrative could get volcanic because it's not just NVIDIA, it's not just virtuals, and it's not just fart, right? It is way bigger than that, way bigger. So we don't even know who the winners and the losers are. And if you want to play, I don't blame you, right? A lot of people are going to get smoked, but you know what? As my father used to say, there's a New York Lotto commercial from a long time ago. You got to be in it to win it. So if you think about Michael Saylor pulling up Bitcoin, we will talk about Michael Saylor. If you think about this AI narrative and these coins pushing crypto from the bottom, and you think about Bitcoin and possibly XRP pulling crypto from the top, you have a very powerful narrative. You have a volcano. Now, what's keeping the lid on the volcano? Let's talk about it. Like, what is up with this market falling out of bed 5% today? All right. So let's pretend we're at a legacy cocktail party. I'll translate for you. So, in kind of like the intellectual cucumber measuring of the legacy hedge fund world where everyone has to outsmart everyone else, the cocktail du jour is they believe that the orange man is going to mess up like many government officials do when they mess with economics, that they're going to spook the bond market, which is kind of in progress because the bond market's afraid of tariffs and more inflation. They're talking about the Fed rate cuts backfiring, that inflation is now like running out of control again. They want to bet against bonds. They want to bet against stocks, and they want to bet against MicroStrategy because in the past, one of the ways to make real money is when things kind of blow up, like in legacy. Like, you buy a bunch of bearish put options, you buy some derivatives for a really small amount of money, like the Big Short, and then all of a sudden wake up and then everything kind of like crashes and disappears and you become a legend, right? That's the lore of legacy. And, one of the biggest guys in the business has got 20% of his portfolios short U.S. treasuries. And he's been right because there's no bid in our bond market, none. Right? I mean, the orange man is talking about buying Greenland and just bull posted a picture of Canada and the USA all with an American flag silhouette. I mean, there are French-speaking components of Canada that I don't know. They must be absolutely free. They must be out buying canned goods and bottled water tonight. They must be freaking out. Why do you think Trudeau just like went away? Like, went away. They're like, oh my God, this guy, he's trying to do a hostile takeover of Canada. Now, again, people in legacy think that that's negative because, I don't know where we're getting the money to buy these countries. Are we going to invade? What are they going to do? Disrupt trade? And he's dead serious. He's not kidding. He's never been kidding about anything. So legacy paints this as bearish. Now, here's some honesty. If the bond market falls apart and the dollar stays strong because people are afraid of China, that is what I would call the risk to the view. There is no return without risk. There isn't. There's no up only. There's no phantasmic glory of just like, I walk in, I buy, and the Almighty blesses me and money falls out of the sky. It doesn't work that way. You want to make money in crypto, you're going to have to stare down all the biggest hedge funds in the world and say the following. I think something has to give in the system, right? So either one of two things has to happen. Either the bond market and the stock market have to crash, particularly the bond market, and we have to have some like huge debt crisis, or we have to change the value of the currency through Bitcoin and gold. That's what we have to do. Now, let me put that aside. So we'll say, okay, legacy bears versus crypto bulls. That's the battle. Let's put that over here for just a second. Now let's go to hedge fund cocktail party part 2. MicroStrategy mathematically is very overvalued relative to the Bitcoin that they hold. So all the hedge funds who have grown up with math their whole life want to short MicroStrategy and buy Bitcoin to try to capture the difference. Okay? That's what they want to do. They believe Bitcoin should either hang in there or go up, and MicroStrategy has nowhere to go but down because Michael Saylor keeps creating more and more supply to buy Bitcoin. So again, it's not an unreasonable argument. Okay. So with that said, let's talk about what they want versus what we want. All right. So what do they want? They want the bond market to come unglued, and they want stocks to crash because that's what happens. That's what happened in 87, by the way. You had a massive rise in bond yields, and then you had a trade disturbance when a trade number came out and our data relative to Japan, and then everyone just lost their mind. That's what happened in 87. So hedge funds are looking for a repeat of that. Now, what's the opposite of that? How does that not pan out? Like, what's the other scenario? We're being objective. What's the other scenario? Okay, well, the first scenario is MicroStrategy is supposed to go down, but it doesn't. Why? Because huge European, Japanese, and Asian insurance companies, massive funds who can't get access to Bitcoin or the Bitcoin ETF, buy all of the Michael Saylor stock, bonds, preferred stocks, whatever he's selling to buy more Bitcoin. Those funds take all of it. That Michael Saylor, whatever he's selling, there's an invisible, gigantic buyer out there. And hedge funds who all have the same position. Feels like kind of games, just like GameStop. Like if everyone is short and then somebody gets on Reddit and go, okay, bros, everybody buy MicroStrategy on E-Trade, go. And every hedge fund is short. Could MicroStrategy become a meme stock? Could that happen? And what happens if there's a MicroStrategy event and a GameStop event at the same time? Did you know that Interactive Brokers, a huge like E-Trade style mechanism for, real stock trading, they increased their what are called margin requirements on MicroStrategy because there's so many people short. Like, what's that about, guys? What's happening out there? Getting a little bit too bearish, a little bit too short? Betting against Michael Saylor? Has that actually worked out ever? Think about it. MicroStrategy as a meme stock. That's point 1. Now, point 2, even though I'm kind of sick and tired of them, the secret weapon against the bond market shorts is the Department of Government Efficiency. Okay? Now, the orange man is out there trying to aggressively acquire assets because if you have too much debt, you need new assets to help you pay off the debt. That's what Canada and Greenland is about. So now that he's out there freaking out about that, or he's getting the bond market weirded out because the bond market's like, where are we getting the money for this? And Is inflation coming back? The only counter is the Department of Government Efficiency. Is perhaps shocking cuts to try to stop the bond market from going down. Also, remember, ex-Soros guys are advising the president, and they, like me, have seen these currency and interest rate debacles in the past. So, engaging in a minor amount of positive imagination, but if there is a short squeeze in MicroStrategy and a short squeeze in the bond market, meaning interest rates fall, perhaps inflation falls, because the orange man did come out and say both inflation and interest rates are too high. It's a very interesting statement. The only way to fix that is to massively cut government spending. That's the only way to fix it. Like that statement, like we are being told on the tape. So if you're following my story, all the people think in legacy that the resolution to the pressure in the system, which is undeniable, the resolution to the pressure in the system is some sort of negative event in bonds or MicroStrategy. My argument is the absolute opposite. What happens if the only way to price this in is to cut government spending and moon crypto and have the orange man, instead of having to worry about fighting Jerome Powell on the strategic Bitcoin reserve, here's how the strategic Bitcoin reserve gets done. Hello, Apple? Yeah. Hi. Yeah, this is the orange man. Yeah, we need you guys to buy $1 billion in Bitcoin. What day works for you next week? Oh, okay, great. Excellent. Okay, yeah. So we won't have any tariffs on whatever it is that you build. Congratulations. We'll call you next month for another $1 billion. Thanks. Click, and we'll do that about, I don't know. We'll do that with every country and every government and every state government, and anybody who doesn't want to wind up on the wrong side of the orange man is going to buy or promote or do something with crypto. The United States doesn't have to buy 1 million Bitcoin. It just has to get 100,000 entities to buy Bitcoin, to just buy a little, to get the industry going. You don't think that's going to happen? Czechoslovakia is buying Bitcoin. Like, where did they get that idea from? The phone's ringing everywhere, right? It's like, you play ball with the orange man or else. Like I said, I kind of feel a little sorry for the Canadians. Like, I kind of do. Like, yeah, they had to suffer Trudeau. I'm sure that a lot of them are glad that Trudeau is gone. But the media is like, is Trump going to roll? I mean, are the Canadians going to wake up and the 101st Airborne is going to be parachuting down? What's going on? Now, again, keeping it positive. If the administration, this is why I bring up the Canadian thing. If the administration wants something to happen, do you still think they're kidding? Right? Do you think Donald Trump is going to let hedge funds blow up the bond market before he gets into office? I mean, the current administration is clearly trying to make it difficult for him, to say the least. So is it possible that deals are being done to massively boost crypto? Crypto on its own right could probably just go and go and go. And we're all afraid, of some bullshit inflation number that I know is serious. And I know there's a macroeconomic argument for additional inflation. I understand that. But I also understand that there is a way to counter that in theory. It's not the 70s where we just have to raise interest rates to 20% and pray it's contained. Massive government spending cuts pretty much take care of that problem. And it's already been promised. And they've got the biggest jerk in the world queued up, ready to go to do it. Okay. So what happens if the legacy negative scenario happens? Well, you have a spiral down in bonds. You have a spiral up in interest rates. You get an economy that's locked up from massively high mortgage rates, and either the bond market or components of the stock market just kind of give out, right? And you have a huge correction right out of the gate. That's scenario one. Or you have a situation where everyone gets negative, everyone gets bearish, everyone thinks it's going to happen later, and the orange man says in 2 weeks or earlier that it's happening now. And if they don't believe it now, when he takes office in February and all these czars and all these guys, I mean, again, we're doing a hostile takeover of Canada and he's not even in office. What if they got queued up for crypto later? I mean, what happens if this is the last dip and these legacy guys are handing it to you? Like, I continue to believe, like, they think we're sitting on a time bomb. And they have an argument. I mean, you can't owe $36 trillion, $37 trillion and have a completely bidless bond market and think that that's going to turn out okay. It doesn't turn out okay. Something's got to get done. And when that something gets done, Bitcoin is gone. Now let's switch to Michael Saylor for a second. So Michael Saylor has made it abundantly clear, to the point where people think it's boring, that he's going to buy all the Bitcoin on the planet. And he has undoubtedly made a deal with market makers, because the only way that you can do something like that, the only way anyone will actually trade with you, is to say, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to pump the market. We're going to buy it up, just like they kind of did the first couple days of the month, and frankly fooled me. We're going to pump the market, and then we'll fill your orders, and then hopefully we'll get a drop like inflation numbers or whatever, and then we'll hoover our inventory back up, and we'll play that game until we can't play it anymore. But you have to buy it at the high, right? Because we don't want you buying it from us at 92 and then we're chasing it at 108 to get it back. We're not doing that. You have to buy it at 103, and then we have to get our inventory back at 90. And naturally, like all these houses are selling you guys, or whoever, retail, all the leverage that they ever want so they could stop you out and get all your crypto. I've been saying this. I've been saying they can't short altcoins anymore to try to get your crypto, and boom, they did it again in my face. Congratulations. I hope you guys are having a great time. But what I want to do at the end of the day, right, is I want to say, where are we going to be in 18 months? Where are we going to be in 18 months, right? Are we going to be like, well, the purchasing manager survey showed inflation was 8 points higher than it should have been? Or are we going to be talking about this? Like, how do you get out of this problem? It's clearly not the Fed hiking rates. It's clearly not the Fed lowering rates. Like, the Fed cannot solve this problem. You have to solve this problem, I believe, in the currency market. The only way out of a debt crisis is to devalue the currency. Apparently, hedge funds think the only way out of a debt crisis is to crash bonds and stocks. That's not what the economics book says. Okay, so what's my bet? What's your bet? What's their bet, right? We're all going to the casino. We all got our chips. Their bet is bonds crash, rates spike, everything speculative goes down. That when you start having things like Bitcoin, when everyone starts saying, everyone thinks it's going to 200K, every government should buy it, every corporation should buy it, the ultimate price target is $13 million. You could argue that that is a textbook bubble top. Textbook bubble top. Nobody's bearish. Everybody thinks it's going to the moon. Even the guys who think inflation is coming back think Bitcoin's going to the moon. That's who's on the other side of the table. Now, does that scare you a little? You know what? I hope so. It should. It should. Because, as I said, making money in markets can't be easy. If it's easy, it's a top. It's over. Right? So these characters, they have an argument and they have price action on their side for the moment. So, you're going to have to stare at this. You're going to have to look at the bond market. You're going to have to look on Twitter. You're going to say, oh, see, I told you so. All the AI agents, all that stuff was overvalued, blah, 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 blah. Now, naturally, as I've said, I disagree. You have to form your own investment thesis. And ultimately, you have to decide, is this going to have a positive effect or a negative effect? I think the deciding factor, really, it comes down to three things. I led with them. I'll close with them. Artificial intelligence, right? One tech billionaire is censoring anyone who doesn't agree with the current administration or him. That guy's shutting people off. Then the guys who have a history of shutting people off are now lifting weights and hanging out with the guy that runs a fighting league, most likely horrifying their fan base and employees potentially. Why? Why is Sam Altman saying we have AGI? He's had AGI the whole time because it's a race to see who unleashes, I don't know, this unbelievable, life-changing, world-changing artificial intelligence. Like the artificial intelligence narrative is going beyond NVIDIA. And we're all worried about the bond market. We're all worried that there isn't going to be enough growth. And I don't know, 18 months from now, you may be watching two robots doing the news or two robots doing something like the Oprah Winfrey show, except it's the, I don't know, the AI agent robot show. Excuse me for, not having the right terminology. I mean, is this market price for that? Virtuals at 5 billion? Is that the 6 o'clock news is being done by a quasi sentient robot? I don't think that's priced in yet. And if there is a sentient, or if there are artificial general intelligence entities out there, I don't think they're trading in dollars. Just saying. I think they're going to trade in crypto. So there's that narrative that, there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of excitement in crypto, but I don't think any AI coin in crypto is overpriced relative to like the zaniness we saw in 2001, 2021, or in 2000, right? Where you had like an IPO boom that went on for years. Please. Then there's this currency narrative. There's the whole XRP, Bitcoin. Vitalik was out today donating to Tornado Cash. He was criticizing Elon. Vitalik is out on the offensive now. Like, who's going to fade crypto at this point? Is that really a good idea? Because, it's paid to fade crypto for 6 years. Let's do a new trade. Like if you want to have a hedge fund cocktail party, I'll have a hedge fund cocktail party. I'll look at the hedge funds and say, so let me get this straight. XRP has been a whipping post for 6 years. And you guys think that that's going to continue, right? You don't think there's any upside with this. I mean, Michael Saylor with the son, Brad Garlinghouse with the father. What do they have to do? Do they have to take out a Super Bowl ad that says F around and find out about crypto? I mean, you guys have spreadsheets and math on your side. I have Michael Saylor, the Orange Man, and a whole bunch of people who are so sick and tired of the fiat trap. This is not just like me or you. This is everybody. Like, how about the citizens of the UK? How about people in India or China? How about big banks in Hong Kong? Right? Like, what is going to happen when all these people wake up and go, you know what? I want this. Do you know what happens? Everybody's spreadsheets break. Because the thing that I loved as a young guy from the beginning is that the foreign exchange currency market, yes, some economics are involved in terms of valuing one currency versus another, but 80 to 90%, it's just Mr. Market. It's just supply and demand. You know what I'm saying? It is just the raw animal spirit. Now, there are algos now that there weren't there before, but foreign exchange is the animal spirit market. We don't do spreadsheets over here, bro. We don't do it. We're doing, I like the money. I like the country. I like the product. I like the money. I don't like the money. That's what we do. So, crypto bros versus hedge funds. Hopefully it's a huge battle. It should be, because if I'm right and it is a huge battle and the crypto bros win, then we're sitting on a volcano. Now, let's talk tactics. So if we go to charts, right? Tokenization will democratize equity markets, says Bitwise. Interesting, don't you think? Okay. So here is the screen that I wasn't sharing. Sorry. Here's ETH. So very promising. Looks like it's going to break out. Boom. They slam it right back down to support. Solana. I don't know. 1 minute it looks like it's going to 250. The next minute it looks like it's going to 190. And maybe they're just chopping everybody around in the middle. Like maybe, perhaps this is a discouragement trade. I don't know. Interesting, a 9 bottom in SUI. So SUI has actually, potentially completed its correction. Interesting, don't you think? Don't really have an explanation on the Bitcoin chart as of yet. Really, really, really thought that this was like very moonable until they dropped it like this. We'll see. This was a very bullish signal in Lux Algo. One of the things that I want to do, and one of the things that it's paid to do, is that when you have these signals in Lux Algo, like these high conviction buy signals from yesterday, frequently with quant signals, you want to buy the next dip. I used to work with the guy that built the models. This guy was such a genius. Oh my God. Such a genius. He's like, yeah, you get the signal from the model and you buy the next dip. Well, okay, you know what? Today was the next dip. And we got all these economic numbers coming out next week, right? CPI, PPI, we got the payroll number coming out. I don't know. What are they going to do? They're going to tell the truth about the job market and about the inflation picture right before the orange man takes office? That sounds about right. It's like, oh yeah, okay, let's just show everybody how whatever. The hedge funds are going to get their say. They're going to get to take their shot. I think what we have to do is say, I don't know, there's support in Bitcoin and say 92 or 93. Let's just use that number. That'll be on Cointelegraph tomorrow. Let's just use that as a general proxy, right? That's where the support is if they drop it. If they can't drop it more than one day, and I said this last night, right? If they can't drop it more than one day, or if they can't really break the market, this is what I showed. We had this last night. Oh, damn it. Okay. So yeah, there was the 13 top in Bitcoin, which we had last night, and then they just dropped it. So now I know to pay extra special attention to that. I was kind of thinking of sideways, but all right, they dropped it. The support is down at 93 in the event that there are negative numbers. Then again, if somebody's actually going to tell the truth at the Bureau of Labor Statistics about what's really going on in the labor market, crypto bros have an argument, and so do the hedge funds, right? These are competing economic forces. And at the end of the day, if they give you a downtrade, that lasts a couple of days, start assuming as we head into the inauguration that any material downtrade could be the last downtrade. That does not mean put the rent money in a $5 million AI agent project. It doesn't. But it does mean you should get ready. You should get aggressive if you share my view. Like if you know what the risks to the view are, and you still agree, not just because I say it, but because you believe it. Like, do your own research means do your own reflecting. Where are we going to be in 18 months? The positive case, the negative case, your capital, my voice, your decision, your P&L. Okay, that is the market update for today. I will see you tomorrow.